JV Rail are a four-piece alt-country band from Western Australia who have released several singles over the past couple of years, the latest of which is Enough for Me, and I'm going to talk to lead singer Jon V about that and about the band and where their name comes from. Hi, Jon.
Hi, Sophie. How are you? Thanks for having us on.
It's a pleasure, and I'll start. Actually, I will start with the band's name. I imagine the initials in the band's name are from your name, but how did you come up with JV Rail as the name?
We started off actually as Jon V and the Rescue Specials, which was a few years back, or 2 or 3 years back. It's too much of a mouthful, especially for a lead singer with a lisp like me. So it's a pretty stupid choice, really. But the Rescue Specials was a train, a famous West Australian train that during the gold rush, it broke some pretty impressive records and stuff, carrying out a rescue team to Coolgardie, which is a town out inland from our seaboard. And they're kind of very similar to our recent things happening with the Thai soccer boys that were stuck in the cave. You know, it was a similar thing, but it was on the cover of every newspaper around the world at the time. And I just love it because my family's from out there. Half my family's from out in the goldfields, and it was a call out across whatever media they had at the time, you know, across press and radio and stuff like that, to come as quickly as you could to Perth, and who was brave enough to dive into this flooded gold mine and rescue this Italian miner. And so it was kind of like I guess it was a bit like the movie Armageddon, where you just got the crack team and you got the fastest, best West Australian coal shovelers. This train was rigged up, and these 2 Navy divers got out there, and the train broke all land speed and distance train records held at the time across the world. And I think it was cool because it sort of sums up that human pride and that, you know, especially for Australia, like this, you know, the step up when needed.
Mm-hmm.
And also a bit of WA history that's not widely known. So yeah, so we kept the train thing. Yeah, because we're still quite new. We kept the train thing, and yeah, we set it on rail, and JV Rail. I don't know. I stuck JV there. I was just at the time, but we could have gone with the rails or something like that. But
you could have, but it is more distinctive to have JV Rail. I'm just thinking about the story you've told. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, the guy's name was Modesto Verascetti. He was an Italian miner, and it was a mine outside of Coolgardie, and he was stuck 13 levels down, I'm pretty sure, in an air rise.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, just some classic stories from it. He's supposed to mine in pairs, and he was covering for his mate because he had the flu, so he was down there on his own on an air leg, so he couldn't. And yeah, didn't hear the evacuation sirens and all that sort of stuff, or however they evacuated people back then. And next thing you know, he's trapped for 2 weeks. But they got him out.
Weeks. Oh my goodness. That's a whole, like, I could go off on this tangent. But I should come back to music. But I will ask you before moving on. So it sounds like your family is embedded in Western Australia. They've been there for a while.
Yes, Kalgoorlie and Gelton, one very far from the ocean and one on the ocean.
Right.
So, yeah, both rural.
Judging by the surfboard over your shoulder, I'm guessing you're from the more ocean-bearing branch.
Yes, luckily I've got my dad's blood there. I think I can't keep away from it. Although I do love my mum's hometown, that red dirt, and I think it had 2 liquor licenses per capita at one stage, which is always handy.
There's a song in that, I think, or a song title.
Going up there for Christmas every year and getting driven past the red light district as a 10-year-old, you know, something to do.
It's an education, I think, because my parents had a similar idea, I have to tell you, but that's another story as well, isn't it? So I will ask you, who is in JV Rail, apart from you, of course?
Myself, and the next guy I contracted into the Mad Menagerie was a mate, Ben, who's a local drummer down here, drum teacher and all that. And we have Jake Hugh, who's a farmer out of Rosabrook, just east of Margaret River.
Mm-hmm.
James Harris on the bass, who's a viticulturalist and longtime rock pig from down this way, lots of different bands. So, well, yeah, we went through a lineup change, yeah, sort of first half of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we sort of really settled now, and it's got
Mm-hmm.
a new sound, and yeah, really digging it.
So are these, apart from you mentioned was one band member you played with before, the second two you mentioned, had you played with them before?
No, never. So we had Jack and Dave at the initial start, and then we through life necessities made some changes, and so I never met Ben had played with Jake before, and
Right.
I'd seen James playing around the place, so I was really super pumped that he was keen to join on.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we played our first festival as this lineup at the Cabin Fever Festival, which is a Margaret River Festival, in July, and it was our first gig. And yeah, I think something happened on stage, and the crowd obviously saw it.
Right.
Afterwards, we just went, all right, yeah, this is it. Yeah.
Well, that was handy, given that you're at a festival at that gel. But it is, it's part of the mystery of performance, I guess. It can either go beautifully, and then you can't really point to one thing or one reason why it's working so beautifully, or it can fail, and then you would have had to get new band members.
Oh, yeah, it's just, yeah, I guess it professionally once, yeah, musically at a professional level, at a certain level, guys can play, but also because it's an original work and it's telling an original story of our stories, then it was important for the guys to be a part of that as well, so we can tell our stories together. And interest, passion, but also you have to click as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of this industry has solo artists that have a great session band behind them, and they change in and out. But I don't think, we knew we weren't looking for that.
Right.
Even when I started up, I was writing the stuff and all that sort of thing. But no, I wanted a good old-fashioned band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that because I imagine, given that you can write and play instruments and sing and everything, that being a solo artist is always an option. But what is it about the band environment that you really like?
It's a bit of it's a shared journey, and working when you get that a writing synergy or a live performance synergy, you melt into that meditative state where you're just that vessel for your art that's coming out, all on that same page, all on the same level. It's that shared experience for that, which is, you cannot replace that. That's look, don't get me wrong, a solo artist playing for thousands of people, just it's the same thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know, maybe I grew up playing too much football or something. It's nice to have a team. Just, get into it that way. I've always just played in bands, so and similar, the other guys are the same. So we're all coming from cut from the same cloth.
Right. Yeah, I think you either like team sports or you don't. It's a personality thing, or to do with nature, which is possibly the same thing as personality. So have you found that, well, actually, I'll ask a question about the new song, Enough for Me. Did you write that after you had the current lineup set, or was that a song that came before?
That came slightly before. Ben and I were working on it. And and then Jake and James were just coming on at that time. So we're working with the producer, James Newhouse, from Lamb Chop, and it was our first song with him. We've since recorded another single that we're very excited about. We're just holding on to this one as well, because we're still making sure it's exactly what we want. But this was our first experience. And as I was, Ben and I were working through the track with James, Jake had been up there for a while, so he did the guitar work and solo and stuff, and then James came on right at the death knock for it. Yeah, so it was a bit of a mix of both, I guess. But the next song, its follow up, is just yeah, it's been a great experience to have all four, and time allowing, we can't wait to do it again, and finances allowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems to be, we seem to be on a winner now.
The reason I asked was I was wondering if the change in lineup had changed the sorts of songs you want to write, or the way you write songs, or your intention as a songwriter, I guess.
No. I can't help what's happening, and Ben, we're all writing now, which is
okay.
This is beautiful. So if we backtrack 6 months or whatever, and it's strange because the other guy's writing or altering parts or something like that of one person's songs. That's how we're at the moment. We're bringing a song to the table. We all hear something. We are all on that thing. So we're, someone will hear, well, Ben will sit down and write a chord progression or something like that. I know Jake suffers from the madness the same as me, where if you're kept up at night or you dream them, or I don't know, you hallucinate them, long walks in the sun or something. I don't know. These ones, so if we backtrack to when these ones were being created, they're coming from, totally from dreams or out in the water or something where you're totally not in the moment, and they come forth. Book has a melody, and well, for me personally, you can't. There's no stopping that font at that time, and you do that, it's gone. You've got about 15 seconds or something to latch onto it, whether you have to wake yourself up in the middle of the night and get that down. That's why the guitar's better, because it's like easier by the bed. Yeah. Dark to start. You can't get up and start turning the keyboard on and rattling around. So it's almost like, the last few years or something, I haven't really had a choice. And I don't think anyone would lightly enter into this industry if they didn't have a choice.
Sorry, God. I was just thinking, when you said the song might come to you out in the water, I imagine in order to remember it, you probably have to keep repeating it to yourself, or maybe singing it out loud so you can remember it. So you've got time to get back to shore, get a notebook or something.
You paddle further out. You paddle further out, and you miss a whole bunch of waves, and you sit there, and the start of Enough for Me came to me out in the water. So just that, it was almost like a soul line kind of thing, like from an old. So I just had to imagine these guys singing, had this bizarre sort of visions of like guys singing in a pub or something, a bunch of guys from the Crocodile Dundee set or something just breaking into a with a Dundee's pet crocodile or something. I don't know, I had this strange thing, so I just paddled it further out. I know Jake has the same problem. You got to go out and miss a whole bunch of time in the water. You can't paddle in because that's long, and you'll forget it because you got to hold your breath and all that. Yeah, right. You go out the back, and you just sit there, and because you've got no physical device to record. But no, 2 or 3 good ones have come that way. Yeah, right. They come on. I don't know. They just seem to come when you have detached from bills and pressures and things like that. The full. And even the painful ones, like, whether it be financial stresses or, the cost of living or the down and outs or something, when they come at your worst. And it's great because you'll be feeling, you'll be feeling mad about, ready record bank profits or something. You can barely pay your mortgage or something, you'll be feeling pretty ticked, and you just sort of 5 minutes later it manifests into they always seem to come out in some sort of blues riff for me, but they're an untapped font at the moment, and it's hard to get. They're easy to get down, and then we got to spend a lot of time, and all of us are doing it. So
yeah, right.
We have like a table full of songs to launch into at the moment, and they seem to just be getting better. So that's probably the coolest thing.
Well, possibly because in your own way, you're competing with each other. I guess if all four of you are writing and they're all on the table, it's may the best song win that gets to be recorded next.
And it's cool, and because at the start it was me driving the track, shoveling the coal, and now the guys are like, nah, come on, this, they're in. That's all I wanted, and I'm super stoked. They're just their backgrounds, they're all consummate musicians, so it's a pleasure. We always say that, and if the boys weren't working today, like they're out in the Ben was working out on the farm, and Jake's on his farm, and Jane is actually doing viticulture work. We got a public holiday here today, and they're all working.
Okay.
So we usually go to Ben's garage, and he's got a studio in there, and we all just say, as soon as we step in there, it's just, we transcend all that crap, and it's beautiful.
So when Enough for Me came to you in the water, in the surf, obviously, it was the music that came to you first. So then once you get back to land and you have the music, what sort of process is it to get the lyrics? Do you sort of wait to see what comes up, or is that pretty much instantaneous once you buy an instrument?
Got the whole track, the whole full drive track home. So that's a long one. That's always really good. So you've got about, 15, 20 minutes of sand and bush to put those lyrics to it. So it's a nice process. And what we all do, I think, is lots of musos would you just be writing it down. Sometimes your brain divides up into like Elton and Bernie. You've got a hook, and you're like, well, that's a killer hook and a chord progression, and Bernie will work out the lyrics later. Sometimes they come at the same time.
Right. So it is a great way to think of it. You've got Elton and Bernie in your brain.
And it's magic, isn't it? It's just like he was such Elton was such a melodic genius.
Mm-hmm.
He kept that simple. Like, he could play anything. So, it was a session player. Ben told me the other day it was a session keyboardist for Neil Diamond. And I'm like, well, what the hell? So he could play anything, right? But he's just like, he's keeping all that chord structure fairly simple. Mm-hmm. Killer melodies. And then, imagine having a Bernie there. So, but the brain, the brain will take it either way. You'll take it, grab your phone, record it like every other muso does these days, record it, get it down. You have 140 videos there, filling up your whole storage cache. Mm-hmm. And then, it needs time to bake. Some, like the ones of Dream, that like a couple I've dreamt, and they come out like Road Bend, our first ever single, and another one in the works. They came out full, like, wake up, bolt upright. You've just seen the whole chorus and half the verse, like you're on a stage or something, and it's just, and if you're lucky enough to remember it, you've just seen the whole thing. Mm. So, but that's rare. But yeah, you need time to bake. So you go home, write it down, work on it. And I use, we all use loved ones around us to have a listen first, and they're pretty cool. They're pretty brutal, they'll be like, nah, that line's shit. Yeah, they're good now. They're at the start, that's really nice. And then they realize that, hang on, one, they're actually not crap, they're pretty good. So now we can help them get it. So they're like, two, they're just like, nah, don't like that bit, change it.
Right.
So, but, yeah, all those filters, and then hopefully by the end of it, it's starting to sound pretty damn good.
Well, and with Enough for Me, what was the lyrical inspiration behind that?
Just, I wanted to like represent, I know in country or country rock at the moment, there's a lot of, you know, it's always been simple themes, and my themes haven't been otherwise. So I wanted to get back to it and go, no, hang on. This is who we are, from where we are. You know, there's shitty weather all the time, and, you know, 8 months of rain and storms and stuff like that. We're like socializing, but we keep it small, keep it simple.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the pub, watch game of footy, whatever your thing is, you know. Yeah, it was just a really simplistic working person song.
Mm-hmm.
That was just the gist of it, to just say, hey, you know what? Like, you know, we're all chasing something, all right, but this is enough. This is good. Which is a complete lie now, because now we've been on a couple of stages and we're like, it's not enough. But it is. Our life is enough, but we're all like, we've been on these stages and seen what we were able to do.
Right.
And now we're like, well, yeah, we'll keep that part, but can we change the work part? You know?
Right.
Yeah,
right.
Which every musician. But no, it was in essence, small town, country life, in rural Australia, rural anywhere. And this is why people go for it, because it's all you need.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like there are plenty of songs for you on the horizon as a band, where you've got some written, and then it's a question of what gets recorded next. And it sounds like you've been playing some festivals. So if people want to see your new music perform live, is it mainly festivals where they can see you?
At the moment, no, we're sort of getting stuck with limited opportunity down here at the moment, because we're quite far away from everything. So we've got we do a small amount of local gigs, I guess, and then we just at the moment trying to get our name out there and apply.
Right.
I think Enough for Me was the first single that we've got where the sound was where we wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, in that regards, it's almost like a start again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
Yeah. So not taking anything away from the first 4 singles, but we recorded them with a good friend in a house.
Right.
And yes, and we were formed and straight to recording. We didn't have any stage, you know, or a year or two.
Right.
So yeah, finding us at the moment, we're just in application land at the moment. So
right.
Just I swear, it's like one of the emails these days is going to be, "Oi, mate, just look at this YouTube video, okay? Don't worry about how we write." It's one of those people at work, you say, they go, "Oh yeah, if I had to apply for my job again, I wouldn't get it because I can't write those applications that well."
Yeah, right. Well, I'm sure the applying will pay off, and there will be new songs for you in the near future. But for the moment, we have Enough for Me. And it can be enough for us as your audience to listen to until the new songs emerge. And I'll let you go, Jon, because you don't have, it's still sunlight where you are in Western Australia. There are no doubt things to do outside. So it was great to talk to you, and I'll talk to you again.
Thanks very much, Sophie, and thanks for having us on. And yeah, we look forward to doing it again in the future.